get all the equipment going. That looks about right. And okay, here we are. Hey everybody, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to do beef Burgundy, and it's going to be very tasty. But since I have a million things to do this weekend, and a lot of work to do around here, rather than a long intro, we are just going to jump right on into it. So, we have got carrots. Give me a second. Onion, mushrooms. Here we go. See if this onion's still good, and if not, I got a new one. Okay, so we have carrots, we have mushrooms, we have a beautiful looking boneless round tip roast. That is a nice looking piece of meat, is it not? Yummy. And we're going to kind of loosely base this off of an old Julia Child recipe. Now, she always used bacon in hers in a brisket, and I don't have any bacon right now, but because I'm trying to kind of make this a bit more healthy and health conscious, we're going to skip the bacon, although if Extra Bacon Maker comes in, we're not telling him that. Okay, now, first thing to do is to cut our beef into small 2-inch cubes. And actually, the first thing to do is probably to cut our onion up real fast. So, let's, since it's a French dish, we're going to use our French chef's knife, which a friend of mine was so kind as to sharpen for me recently. Yeah, here we go, half an onion. Alright, come over here, guys, and we'll see what we got going. You guys see all right? Yeah, sure you do. Alrighty. I'm actually going to use that bowl as a kind of a scrap catcher. And we can throw everything away at the end more conveniently. This onion's a bit past its prime, so we might augment it with the fresh one I just bought. Also, if you guys, let me check my levels actually. Test, 1, 2, wait, can you guys hear me? Yeah, here we go. Just checking. Sometimes with my kitchen setup, the microphone goes off, and I don't know why. Come on. All right. Let's get those there. Now, I could probably use a little more onion than this. But I think I'm going to save the other one and not cut into it yet, just because this should be sufficient. I also don't think I have fresh garlic, so we're going to be using dried in powder form, which is also okay because we're not going to be using a whole lot. Just enough for some real good flavors. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's a nice plate of onion for us. Get all of it off our knife. And I'll spin you guys around so you can see what's going on at the stove. Okay. So we're gonna turn this on, and we will get a little bit of olive oil. And we're gonna kind of back off the heat. This is cast iron coated with ceramic, and we want to heat it gently because the two materials expand and contract at slightly different rates. And so we'll stick the onions over here and get them ready to go in. And the mushrooms are pre-cut, so all we got to do is dump them in. The carrots are going to want some attention because my carrots are unfortunately getting a little bit past their prime. And so we're going to rinse them, clean them, and pick out any that are not going to be good to eat. Bunny Love brand carrots. I'm a sucker for any product with a cute mascot. There we go. Ziploc bags. Okay. There we are. Now, come on over here. There we go. Now we're just going to wash these carrots real good. And make sure that, oh, that's a little too hot. And make sure that they're clean and decent to eat. And we don't have any that are getting any weird spots or bad spots on them. Now, just to make life a little easier for us, we'll dry the excess water off of these so they're not slipping around all over the place. Come on over here. There we go. Isn't that pretty? All right. There. Now let's just slide those back and, well, come on. Let's give these a quick little trim so that they're not too big to stew up for us here. There we go. Those are going to be really tasty. I like carrots. There, let's go get these onions in real quick. Alrighty. Let those soak up some of that oil. Now, I'm also going to put the mushrooms in. And on top of the mushrooms, I am going to add a little bit of butter because sorry guys, I like the flavor of butter in mushrooms. It gives it a good taste, and since we're not using bacon or bacon fat in this, we need some sort of animal fat flavor, and butter is a good source of that. Like especially because it has that nice, rich, buttery milk fat sort of flavor that everyone loves. All right, now let's just huck these carrots on in and commence to cutting up the rest of them. All right. Let's get these in the pot. Perfect. Now, while this goes, and we'll stir that a little bit, and I do want to turn that down just a little bit to give us some time to get our beef handled. We'll let that simmer and keep an eye on it. And now we're going to cube our beef into about, say, 2-inch cubes. And since I don't believe we're going to be using any more vegetables with this cutting board or knife, let's just go ahead and flip it over and use this for our beef. Okay. Let me go throw this away. I'll be right back. There we go. Now, 2 inches. So we'll just kind of gently and smoothly make our lengthways cut against the grain. There. Oh, that's a nice piece of beef. That's beautiful looking. And what we're going to do is we're going to sear that in a separate pan in a second. And I'll move the vegetables over so that you can see me do it. But there we go. That's ready and it's prepared. Now let's wash our hands. It's important always to keep your hands clean when you're dealing, especially with meat, but with anything in the kitchen. Because, well, that's just good hygiene. So, these little guys are going to simmer a bit. Yummy. Okay. Let's just turn on this other stove eye. Yeah, okay. I'll stick those over there a second. And now, you know what? That's too big of a pan for that. Let's use this one. There we go. Aha, perfect. Well, no, I'm wrong. I'm absolutely wrong. I do need the big one. There we go. Oh. Now we'll crank the heat up on that a little bit and add a little olive oil for this. Dropping everything today. And a little bit of salt here. What we're going to do when that gets hot is we're going to sear this. We're going to sear this beef on the outside real quick before we put it into stew with everything. There we go. Get the bottom nice and evenly coated real quick. All right. So while we wait, we're going to flavor up our beef. Now, a little pinch of salt and pepper never goes amiss, of course. Kimika! Hey, welcome to the kitchen. I'm putting pepper and salt on this beautiful piece of beef that we're going to make beef Burgundy out of. And actually, next, what I'm going for is a little bit of parsley and thyme. So, here we go. Thyme. We're kind of loosely basing this off of Julia Child's recipe, although we're diverging in several important ways, but that's okay. It's going to be tasty. I'll show you this after I get it prepped. What are you up to today? Have you been streaming? And have you been having fun? Oh, I've got that sound file for you, by the way. I forgot to send it to you, but I've got it ready for you. Let's see. A little bit of parsley here. And, yeah, you guys are going to like this. A little garlic powder, yeah. And then by then, this will be warm enough to sear this beef in. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at that. Pretty nice, huh? Okay, so that looks about right. There's a little too much oil in there, but it'll be fine. We're just going to sear the outside of this real good. Sorry guys, I'll check chat in a minute. I'm kind of trying to keep an eye on this. For obvious reasons. There we go. Oh wow, everyone's here. Look at that. Haven't done anything today, been lazy. It's the cook. Tomo! How's it going? We're doing beef Burgundy. That's your soda cake. What about soda? You'll continue to judge it. Who doesn't like who's favorite flavor of soda? What's going on here? Do I have to separate you two? Oh my, that's starting to really come together. Oh yes. Okay. Let's just put that back on to simmer and crank that down a little bit. Looky there. We just want to sear these on all sides, so we are going to be turning them as we go. And making sure that they don't stick by and large. Look at that, we're getting a nice sear going on each and every one of those little beauties. I'll be right with you guys. By the way, is my voice coming from this microphone or that one over there? Probably this one, but either way, just so long as you guys can hear me. There we go. Let me swizzle this around a little bit, get some oil everywhere, and then I'll come and see you guys real fast. There we go. You are not a fan of root beer? Well, that's okay. I mean, I like root beer, but I don't drink a whole lot of sodas anyway. I'm not a big fan of Dr. Pepper. It's okay, but any kind seasonings on that right now are salt, pepper, thyme, and parsley and garlic powder. But yeah, the majority of the seasonings come later when I start turning it into a stew. So right now the seasonings are pretty basic, just to kind of get a little bit of them on there while it sears. Just like I said, I got it a little bit wet for searing. Now, Julia Child's recipe, you would be doing this in like the bacon grease from the chopped bacon. I don't have any bacon, and while that would have been really, really good, I'm going for something a little bit healthier, he says as he fries beef in olive oil. So I skipped the bacon, and we're still using the olive oil though. And in place of the bacon fat, I added a little butter, because I do like butter. So we kind of have a good compromise going on. And we're going to sear the outside of this to make sure that it starts, you know, cooking up real good. I'm going to put that one right in the middle where it's hot. We're going to crank this bad boy up. And we're going to check on our, woohoo! Going to check on our vegetables real quick. Those are looking good. I can probably turn those down almost to nothing. And we'll add that to it in a minute. Yes, exactly. To cook the flavors into the beef, just so that the beef itself isn't floating in a sea of herbs and spices, and then you get a chunk of beef, and it's like, that's kind of bland compared to everything else. But yes, exactly. Now, what I need to do is get a small bit of flour real quick for this. So, give me just a second. There we go. We'll be using that in a minute. So what are you guys up to today? Anything fun? Anything good? Anything entertaining? And while you answer that, I'm going to eat a mushroom. I love mushrooms. Look at this. So why are you not a fan of root beer, or do you just not like the taste? Which I can fully understand. You know, I eat just about anything, and I mean that quite literally. However, most of the time, no matter how you fix them, I am not a big fan of sweet potatoes. I mean, I'll eat them, and if they're made well, I will enjoy them while I am eating them. But after like a few bites, I'm done. Let's put these big ones in the middle where it's warm. Turn that up a little more. Get them sizzling. Set that over there for now. Those vegetables are looking great. You don't like at level grinding rate with the Mobile Kingdom Hearts game. That's cool. 53 and 99 level for the great boss you've been farming. You had to break because you were losing your damn mind. Yeah, I know how that goes. Don't like sweet potatoes either. For Pepsi or Coke. You know what I found the other day that I really liked? Coke has these weird little thin cans. They look like Red Bull cans, and they're like flavored Coca-Colas. And they've got peach, which is pretty good. They had like a strawberry guava one. And I like it a lot. The only way I can describe the flavor is that it tastes like 1993. And no, I can't tell you what I mean by that. You just have to taste it and think about that, and it will make sense. Might make more sense for me because I was alive in 1993. But, you know, the rest of you guys can maybe infer the meaning of that. Okay. So here's going to be the trick. We're going to need to move these around. Now we need about 2 tablespoons of flour, all right? Spend most of the day on a raid boss for every time you kill it. Oh! Yeah, I bet that does get a little repetitive, dude. Alright, here's one. And this is where we have to kind of start paying attention because that olive oil and beef fat and butter is going to start turning into a roux and thickening up. And what we don't want it to do, let's turn that down. What we don't want it to do is stick to the bottom of the pan. What I also don't want to do is get meat on a spoon that I'm supposed to stick back into the flour. No, I'm not. Alright. There we go. That'll do the trick. Okay. A little water, quick. can't have it sticking. We also want to flip these over so that this flour doesn't just basically turn into a breading on them. Come on. There we go. That's looking better. Well, it's looking kind of weird right now, and it will. But when we get this into the other pan and start it all simmering and bubbling, you guys will get the idea. So right now, that almost turns into a bit of a gravy sauce, which is kind of the point. And you see it's kind of getting into a paste. It's a roux. And that's really good, because what it means is we can take and set this aside real quick and carefully, and we can bring this back if it's not too hot to do without a towel. Lily, how's it going? I'm going to read everything in just a second, but right now I'm juggling hot pans. There we go. All right. So now we take and we add one to the other. So we've got our vegetables and we've got our meat, and we've got it all put together. And we're going to turn that up a little bit. And here's the fun part. We take and we get all that delicious meaty goodness out of here. Those wonderful flavors that we amalgamated. And scrape this on down. And here's the fun part. Now we get to herb and spice this, but first we need to get the wine in it. Give me half a second, running around like a decapitated hen here. Okay, since there's 2 pounds of beef in here, we want about 2 pounds of Chilean Merlot. Or 2 pounds, about 2 cups. There we go. That's about right. Uh-oh. All right, and real quick, beef bouillon. A little more. That's too much. There we go. Now we'll give that a stir, and we're going to let that start simmering, and we're going to put herbs and spices in it. But the first thing is first, we do want to give it a stir so that everything kind of gets put into place. So that is going to stew for a while. And we're going to add some stuff to it. But while we wait, let's answer some questions and talk to people. Lily, thank you for the host. I appreciate that. That is awesome. And what have you been doing today? Let's see, listening to the sizzle.